Okay, guys, when I was watching the movie yesterday, it felt to me like I was watching a movie that could change an entire genre, like I felt when I saw movies like Silence of the Lamb or Zodiac, this kind of important movie. Did you feel that doing it? I know you were entering a project wanting to change everything, but we know how it goes. But this one is different. Did you feel that?
I felt that it could be that. When I read the script, it was a brilliant script, but I thought it depends whose hands this is in. So I was offered it, but then when I saw Denis' film Incendies, I thought, this could be brilliant. This could be a genre breaker, exactly what you said. This is not your traditional thriller. In this man's hands, it would be more about humanity. It would be more human. It would be about character. It would be about uncovering your own psyche and finding out what that means and how far you would go. So I agree with you.
Well, I'm used to them sending me Oscar-worthy material, so I thought it might do something.
True.
You know? No, for me, he was a first-time director, even though he did other material, so I didn't know what he would accomplish. You know, Hugh Jackman is always seen as, the strong, great actor, but never really noted for, great dramatic performances. He had just got the Oscar nomination, for Les Miserables. But that's a different. That's a different thing. You got Jake Gyllenhaal, who's so diverse as an actor, going from here to there. Maria Bello, who's able to do serious drama and do comedy, and so I didn't know where they were trying to go with the script. But when you got to set, there was a mood of grace and class about it. And I was like, this is about to be something serious.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. There was that sense of grace. From everybody, from our producers, from Alcon, from Denis, that was, it was ours in the making. It was ours to make, all of our work.
It was an angelic
We were constructing this piece of art.
I had the chance to be on set for a couple of days, and I felt something different, as you said. I mean, last time I felt that it's more like a company feeling, like a theater company feeling. Last time I felt that
repertoire.
Yes.
Yeah, repertoire.
Yeah, last time I felt that it was on the set of The Artist, which is a very different movie, but the feeling was kind of the same. Do we install that, or does it come on the set? Does it come like this, or do we work on that?
I think it comes from, and Terrence and I said this, the director and the lead actor. That's what it comes from. The vibe of an entire set relies on those two elements, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it's an integrity and a purposefulness that illuminates everyone around, because we're all just reflectants waiting to see what color we're going to reflect. And when you're given the right tone, that warm tone, but also a piercing tone, you can't help but resonate at a high frequency to the point where everyone else feels it, and the world is edified by it and warmed by it.
Oh, wow. It's very physics, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Physics is
sound.
sexy.
It is sexy. Wow.
You didn't know my teacher in anyway. There's two things with Denis cinema that is always true in all his movies. One, I will talk about that later, it's more ambiguity. And the other one is perception of reality. There's a moment in this movie where we hear something, we see something, and as an audience member, he pushes us to believe that we haven't seen or heard what we just saw.
What do you mean? I don't get it.
The scene with when Paul Dano is saying when he fell, when he's attacked by Hugh Jackman, and he's saying something, I don't want to say too much. And after that, everybody say, no, he didn't say it. And we finally believe ourselves that we didn't hear it. The perception of reality is always something very important in Denis Villeneuve works, especially in Incendie and in this one. Does that change anything for an actor? Do you talk about that? Do you have to have like a stability, some reality to work on, and then it's the director who play with that afterward? How does that work?
Well, there's this suspension of disbelief that we keep among ourselves, even in our everyday life. We don't really hear what's truly said. We oftentimes hear what we want to hear, If an interview is going bad, we focus on the good sides of it.
which is not the case at all.
I know. I hope it's not, because you're talking with us. You know, but we live in this constant state of denial, and our minds, we experience everything inside of our head. You don't experience anything outside of you. It's all taking place in here, and this is all subjective, based upon our wants and needs. So how do you know what's really being said? And a great director can pick that up and play with those the imbalance within perception and reality, and tell the story.
You want to add something?
Nope. He said it all. He really did.
That green juice is great.
Isn't it?
It's got my mind like I'm on fire now.
I know.
Ask me another question.
It's better than caffeine. It is. It's better than caffeine.
Let's see how this juice was. Let's talk about the moral ambiguity of the movie. How do you feel that the audience, especially in America, was not used to that, and I mean, especially in studio movies, they tell us what to think and what to feel. How do you feel they would react to that?
Well, that's why this company is so amazing. There's people that came together. Alcon and Denis and Hugh, all of these actors that stuck to that idea of moral ambiguity, no matter what anybody says, that we all said, this is the story, Denis very strongly, that we want to tell, that has that moral ambiguity. Because that's what we need as an audience, especially in the United States, to see and take in, because that's where we live as a nation. That's where we live as human beings a lot of the time. And to see these 4 different characters and their different reactions to this set of circumstances, we can all see bits of ourselves in all of these people, but the truth is, who would you really be? Or what intersection of which characters would you be in the circumstance?
It's not a question we can answer. I mean, I'm a dad. This is my worst nightmare. I don't know what I would do. Would I go the Hugh Jackman or your character's way? I don't know. And the question doesn't answer that, even at the end, even in the resolution. Was there pressure to get an answer, to get a direction to take? Did you witness some, I don't know, discussion or at a point where they would say you have to take one direction?
No.
No.
Wow, it's a miracle. I mean, that doesn't happen.
No, we weren't. We were not limited in anything. He more so wouldn't pick the color blue or pick the color red. He would want to see the entire rainbow, and he would give you the time to develop all of the colors and watch them go from one transition to the other until you finish the octave and got back to the same place of moral ambiguity of which way do we go next. Because people dealing in those circumstances and living in those circumstances, they live from moment to moment hoping that a one phone call or one look or one conversation with someone else is going to change everything. So they stay open to whatever is going to take place and moved by any emotional wind.
When do you think will Hollywood understand that we want this kind of movie? We don't want to have people telling us what to think, and we will totally forget about the superhero or whatever crap they're feeding us in the summer. And right after we're done, but this one will live. This one will have a career. I'm sure it's going to be successful, Oscars and everything. When will Hollywood understand that we need more than what they feed us?
I think when accountants stop becoming producers and studio heads.
Completely. Like someone said the other day, oh, the violence in this film. I saw a Hollywood film the other day, a big budget, money-making film. 3,000 people must have died in front of my eyes. Like the guns, You never felt how that resonated for the person who was doing the killing. You never saw how it resonated for the person who was killed or their family. In this one, you can see every ramification of violence and what happens to the person who's doing the violence and the person who's receiving the violence. And, so in that way, it was stunning to me that people were saying that there was violence in this.
Yeah, well, this violence is against the human spirit. I think more than anything. The other ones seem to be against, the human imagination, and we say that this isn't real, but it's so palpable. We're so close to it because it's touching on, no one is going to walk inside the White House and have to save the president and all of that and different kinds of movies.
That's what I was talking about.
Well, yeah, one of those movies out there.
I don't know, there's a bunch of them like
that. No one is going to have to experience that in their lifetime. But this right here,
People could.
This is Jaws within suburbia. This is what can take place, and then the violence of what you might do in order to save your child. This is honest and back at home. So they say, no, you can't talk about an honest subject when it's the honest subjects we need to discuss.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jaws within suburbia, I love that line.
Tell you, I'm on fire.
You are. Wheatgrass, wheatgrass, wheatgrass.
Merci beaucoup.